How y'all doing? I think I look good today. Hold up. Let me get my GQ on. Hey, yo, ladies, drop a comment below if you think I'm looking pretty dapper Dan today. You know what I mean? I had to get the collar. I had to get the button up on. You know what I mean? I was like, let me show my little bit of sexy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Anyway, it's your boy Screwface on SFJ, Fizza, Scru, Mr. J. Whatever you want to call me, just don't call me collect. Tomorrow, Monday, we going live, baby. It's gonna be epic. Tune in. You dig? What else? Shout out to everybody who's been watching. I know I say this all the time, but I gotta say it, baby. It's very important. Shout out to everybody who's been watching. Listening is a better word to say. Listening to me and Crip's new single, Last Ones. It's on all streaming platforms. Yo, shout out to my boy Anders too. That dude been rocking with this page since I had like maybe 200 subs. And I know I got your reaction to do. Don't worry, it's still coming. I get very busy when things like this pop up. You never know when Joyner Lucas gonna have a random interview about Stand 2. You never know. Dang, now I forgot what I said because this Mumfu Prof just texted me and said, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I don't, that's all he said. So that's pretty weird. But anyway, so, damn, you ever get something to throw you completely off your game? Like I was spitting too. Hold up. What was I saying? Oh yeah, you just never know what pops up and stuff. So it's hard. You know what I mean? So I'll get to you, Anders. But shout out to you for sending me a screenshot of you purchasing my single with Crip, man. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. We had like 130 CDs sold. We only like 70 away. No, I know it. I feel like we're more than 130, but Roberto said we were at 130, so we had 130, I guess. So we only like 70 away from 200, which is our goal. Now let's get into this whole whatever. So I woke up today like mad early because nobody likes to ever invite me out to do stuff because people are lame as fuck. But then when they see like a music video drop, then they be like, hey, Screw, I remember I'm your friend. So anyway, regardless, that's just me getting my bag. But I woke up mad early. I didn't have nothing else to do. I turn over, I look at my phone. I see that Bizarre has a no jumper interview. First of all, I never thought Bizarre would have a no jumper interview. That's a little random to me. Not bad, not mad. It's cool. I will say the audio was mad, like, quiet. I don't know why the audio was so quiet, but it was like, so what you think about it? So you had to listen like, huh? You had to do the Hulk Hogan. Huh? So, so it was an interesting ass interview though. Really liked the interview. It's funny to me because how the interview, Bizarre kind of talked about everything that I wanted to hear Bizarre talk about. He talked about D12 breaking up. Talked about his relationship with M. Talked about where he was when M blew up and right before he got signed. But what was most important to me, or the most entertaining part of that whole thing, was when he talked about the Joe Budden beef with him. Now, when you listen to Bizarre's tracks, you know Bizarre. His name is Bizarre. He be bizarre. So when you hearing him rap and doing his shenanigans and his antics and his music videos, at least to me, sometimes the message is missed just because he's such a nonsensical, bizarre person. We're talking about a dude who had shower caps as his claim to fame, which also something I learned that was very swaggy. He had a personal stylist who designed a shower cap for every throwback he had on. That's drip, right? That's drip right there. So so he when he was talking about the Joe Budden thing, right? He said the reason why he was going at Joe Budden is because one, he's loyal to M, and he feels like he just kept coming at M, so he came at him. I always thought that was cool. I mean, that's cool to have loyalty, cool to ride for your friend, but Joe did have a point where he was saying stuff like, you ride for him more than you ride for yourself. And something that Joe said, no, actually something that something that Bizarre said that actually made more sense and I wasn't really thinking of is that Joe Budden disrespected Bizarre when a lot, and he's been talking about Bizarre by name a lot, and he said he'd even fight him. So at this point now, I'm like, oh yeah, no, it makes sense. And then when he said that Joe Budden snitched on him for getting prostitutes, ladies of the night, and I thought, I was like, oh yeah, he definitely did do that too. Damn. And then a funny part was when Bizarre goes, yeah, he took it there, so, you know, he has a dog, right? So that's why I had to take it to his dog. Yo, once you take it to the dogs, bro, listen, you could talk about someone's mama, you could talk about their child, you know what I mean? You could talk about their block, their gang, their neighborhood. But as soon as you start involving pets, oh, you going straight to hell, Bizarre. Going straight. Express easy pass. So he also commented on how it's a little sporadic because I just watched it, so I'm just getting my thoughts. He also commented on how Joe Budden said that he made a great point. Great point. That's a very easy point, but you might not catch it when you get caught up in the whirlwind. When he said, yo, Joe Budden has literally came out and said, yo, I've been better than you in the last 10 years. Now, here's why that comment is so corny that a lot of people didn't even touch on. If that's the way you feel, then you must have had a problem with M for a while. And I know you can say, oh, I could think I'm better than somebody and not have a problem with them. Nah, it's the vitriol in which you said it in. It would be an insult to my and everybody's intelligence to pretend that the reason you were that mad was just because you thought you were better than M. No. And if you say, you said this because you feel like M has been messing up for a while. That's really what you wanted to say. It's really what you wanted to say. So when Bizarre goes, well, if you say you feel like you've been better than him for the last 10 years, you felt this in your heart. And it's one thing if you felt it in your heart, you have every right to. The thing that's corny is, does anybody remember how Joe Budden used to talk about Eminem before Kamikaze? I mean, before Revival? On Everyday Struggle? I know they went double back and deleted all the episodes, but Joe was an apologist of M to a point where it bothered me. Because when M does something wrong, say he does something wrong. When he drops a bad album, say he drops a bad album. What killed me was he was going above and beyond to try to show he was like an Eminem supporter. So to just 360 the whole thing to something completely else is mad corny to me. To all of a sudden after Revival and Kamikaze, this is the wackest person ever. Now, I will say Revival was one of the wackest albums of this year. Revival was this, that's great. Was definitely one of the wackest albums Eminem has ever dropped. Probably top 3 worst Eminem albums. But then when he mulligans with Kamikaze, that's what pissed me off the most, is I rocked with Joe when he was saying that about Revival. Actually, no, I didn't rock with Joe when he said that Revival. The only reason I didn't is because to me it was very clear, like I felt like Joe was doing that because everybody was calling him an Eminem D writer. So I feel like he really felt like on the next one he had to super double, triple, quadruple down. He couldn't just be like, oh, this is bad. I have to be like, yo, M's got an agenda and he's using black people to sell his records, which he may have. But if that's how you felt, you should not have been doing some of the stuff you was doing beforehand because it makes you look like a sucker. It really does. Because if you're looking at Revival as Eminem pandering to black people to try to get black votes or try to get black people to support him, then what about white America? What about white America? Are you trying to tell me that's the first time Eminem has rapped? Like, because we said that when the black boy, what about white America? This is the first time Eminem has talked about, I just spit. This is the first time M has talked about black and white and police. Like, really? It's because it's not. So if you do feel like that, just keep the same energy. And I know Joe Budden is the king of not keeping the same energy. And I know he thinks like that's his character and it's like cute that I'm crazy and I don't have to keep the same energy, but then I have all the vitriol and all the choice words for everybody else who I feel like isn't keeping the same energy. Just stop. So this interview definitely got me on Bizarre's side more. It made me realize that I still feel like his diss track was very subpar. Oh yeah, and another thing he said is the reason why he talked about Joe looking for that from him was because he outed him out from getting those ladies of the night, if you know what I mean. So it's like, that's just against guy code, blah, 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 this, that, and the third, which is very true. I just think through this whole Eminem, like, I've never looked at Joe Budden the same way ever since, I wouldn't even say Kamikaze, I would say Revival. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Because I came out the gate, like, most people came out the gate saying they didn't like Revival. Most people came out the gate, but most people were not like D-riding like Joe was. So as soon as I saw him flip, I was like, yeah, I agree with what you're saying with Revival, but the 360 is what I don't trust. I don't trust how you went from basically M could do no wrong, he's the greatest, he's the reason I rap, to this is the worst thing I've ever heard. Like, and it's hard to explain because even if it's true, it's just because here's what people try to do. Here's what people who know how to argue try to do, right? They hide a lie behind a truth, right? So the truth is Revival wasn't that good of an album. That's a hard thing to argue, that it was a good album. I'll let you rock with that. That's the truth. Where the lie is you were lying the whole time, though. That's the lie. The lie was you were pretending to be cool. And when Joe came out and said all his problems with M and how long he's had these problems, it made him, because Bizarre's interview made me realize, oh damn, yeah, that nigga kind of fake. That nigga kind of super, and I already know Joe's fake from watching him interact with rappers and the way he talks about rappers when they're not around. Joe Budden is probably one of the, when it comes to talking heads, all talking heads are puss. All of them. Every one of them. And I know they want to be like, oh, I'm not puss. Run up on me. I know Joe's going to say that. But Joe's puss. Joe's a very puss person because he never keeps the same energy. And they even poke fun of him. Like, Rory was literally saying, like, because Joe was trying to make fun of Rory for doing that. And I was like, Rory, if you let Joe say you do this and you have these industry relationships and you're the one who did, but Rory wasn't playing that. Rory's like, really? How many people have you hated and then when you met them, like, oh, this guy's a pretty good guy, blah, 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 and then you think that's like funny, or you think anybody is digesting that as anything else, then you're kind of just a lame person who doesn't stand for anything. That's what it is. I think you feel Joe thinks he's a very virtuous and noble person and stands on his laurels. What he doesn't realize, I think, is how the public views him. And it's not beyond anything that he made the public think. There's only but so many times people can watch with their own eyes you say something about a rapper, or you have a certain type of energy of a rapper, then when they come, you're hugging and laughing. Like, yeah, we laughing with you. Like when people be like, oh, Joe, you never keep the same energy. Yeah, we're laughing, but we're not laughing with you. We're laughing at you. And you think, it's two different things, right? You think like it's playing in your narrative. No, it's just taking away your integrity. Every time you do that, it takes away integrity. You've lost a lot of integrity this year to me. But I still watch the show because it's entertaining. Now, here's what I'm going to say, though. Joe, be careful with the way that you move. You know how the industry moves, man. You know how the industry moves. You know how the industry moves. People love you now. People are watching you now. But if you continue, okay, I won't even say that. The second that it's your time to go in the gauntlet, because that's what happens with all entertainers. They love you, build you up, throw you in the gauntlet. And then it's the kumite from there on. If you either survive or you don't. And if you survive, they'll love you again. But if you don't, on to the next. So when you get invited to that, because every layer of your career will have this. Every time you break a new ceiling, there's a new kumite to fight. There's a new one. So I'm going to tell you like this, Joe. The initial, he's a woman beater, Breakfast Club, Peter Rosenberg. Those beefs or those issues, and by the way, you and Peter Rosenberg need to stop this passive-aggressive, y'all really hate each other, but y'all pretending like y'all don't to insult people's intelligence. Y'all need to stop that because nobody believes that but you two. Nobody does. I don't even think Peter does. I think Joe is the one who really, because Peter be saying Joe's lying, but then Peter's scary too, so he'll be like, but not to. So anyway, but I'm telling you now, you're giving a lot of weapons to the jackal. Basically, you're sharpening the teeth of the jackals who will come for you. Who will. Remember I said this. When another, you're all it's going to take is you making a mistake. I'm an entertainer too. I've never been an entertainer at your level. I will be one day, period. We getting there. But I'm saying that you're giving ammunition. All of this weird stuff you're doing and people are laughing at now is going to be what they use to bury you. I'm telling you right now, so prepare for that. Bizarre interview was dope. I learned a lot more, got a whole different perspective on the Joe Budden thing, because I wasn't really taking him and Joe Budden's beef seriously. I still think he looks a bit weird with how much he does stuff for Marshall, and it seems like it doesn't really seem reciprocated in the public. Now, he said, because Joe said he hasn't talked to, Bizarre hasn't talked to M in years, and then Bizarre said he just talked to M 2 weeks ago. So M needs to start showing some of that love publicly then, is all I'm saying. Put in the comment section below, what do you think of this Eminem, Joe Budden, disaster whole thing? Disaster? Been watching too much battle rap. I mean, Bizarre. Whole thing. Put in the comment section below, do you think Bizarre was right for dissing him? After you've seen this, do you think that it makes more sense? Do you get it? Put in the comment section below. If you want a physical copy of Strictly for the Fans, all you got to do is email strictlyforthefans@gmail.com. Don't ask me why I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. That's all you got to do. Yep, that's all you got to do. Yep, Let me tell you something. All you got to do is That's my Kevin Hart impression. Okay, listen. You just got to snap. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Road to 35,000. You know I love y'all forever and ever. Chill.